back to our channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to prepare for Bourbon Chase. And Bourbon Chase is a 200-mile relay that spans from Claremont, Kentucky to Lexington, Kentucky. So we'll be talking about the 12-man relay, and so each person will be running 3 legs each. And so to help us with our video today, we have Fast Fillies captain Amanda here, as well as team members of that team and our Swags Elite team, Kat and Abby. So thank you all for joining us today. They are Bourbon Chase veterans, and so they're going to help us get you ready for the race. Amanda, since you're the captain, how did you get involved with Fast Fillies and Bourbon Chase? How did you get the team started?
So I started out 7 years ago on a co-ed team. The women did better than the men, not saying anything, but so we disbanded and started our own team, and we went with something that's with Kentucky, so we did the Fast Fillies. And it's been like that ever since.
So how, you said that was how many years ago?
7 years ago.
7 years ago. Okay, and they've had some great success too. They've gotten first 1 year, and second a few years, as well as third and fifth, I believe. And so it's been fun. And so they're not just going out there and having fun, but they're also competing, which is a cool thing. And it's a great way to bring some of those high school track meets in those days. If you ever competed on a relay like the 4x8, the 4x4, something like that, you're able to bring that into your life later on and compete as a team, which is pretty cool. So what's one of your favorite things about Bourbon Chase? And each of you all can answer that one because I feel like it's huge.
I love it because I feel like it's a huge slumber party amongst all of your best friends, and they just happen to be runners. So, and you're competing at the same time. I think all 12 of us have such a competitive spirit, but we're all friendly about it. But spending 24 hours with these women and just bonding in a van, driving through Kentucky on the Bourbon Trail is just so much fun.
I think it's Don't Pull My Hammy at the Major Exchange 4.
Mm-hmm.
They always have crazy costumes, and it's so much fun to see them after you've been running for over 24 hours and you're sleepless and tired, and all of a sudden you see a guy in a tuxedo jacket and a bikini. It's pretty awesome.
Don't Pull My Hammy, that's the name of the team.
Yeah, right? That's it.
They win like the most spirited award every single year, and they're always decked out in gear, and just they're so much fun. They make the race so much fun. So I think we look forward to seeing them.
And for me, it's a couple of things. It's the friendships. Some of my best friends are from joining Fast Fillies, and I wouldn't have that if it wasn't for being invited to be a part of the team. And then I like the aspect of the mental challenge. It's very hard to run when you're sleepless. You find strengths that you didn't know you had, and you also find weaknesses that you didn't realize you had. But when you walk away from it, it's really cool to know that you and 11 other women conquered 200 miles, and we always do it at a really, really quick pace. So it's just inspiring to watch all of you, and it also pushes me harder than I would push myself if I was out there doing something by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Sounds very cool. So Amanda, what does it take to be part of a relay race such as this?
A positive attitude. I think it also takes the ability to run at least a half marathon. That is kind of the standard requirement whenever you sign up for one of these races, because you're either running between 13 and 22 miles. So the goal for our runner is to be able to run the cumulative of their total miles. And so I have 13 miles this year, so my training has been based around half marathon training and doing some doubles, trying new foods or trying to stay with regular foods, not trying anything crazy like bean dip the day before a race, bringing it with you.
Yeah.
And being able to hang out with a lot of people in a really tight quarter. I don't know, Febreze.
Yeah.
That's a big
deodorant.
all this hygiene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you have to shower before.
So is that one of your qualifications whenever you're about to have a new athlete on your team? You're like, are they clean? Do they smell nice?
Yeah, that's a big one. And since we're a racing team, we actually do have a timing requirement. I think it's pretty modest. It's a 7:45 pace per mile. Fun.
It's fun, but it's competitive as well, and that's what it's all about. Right?
Yeah, we're racing a few teams this year, so we have to be ready to go.
Right. All right. That's my favorite part. So, what's so special about Bourbon Chase and what makes it different to train for? We've kind of answered that question, but if you can answer that.
I think it depends on what leg you're running. So it is important to know the total mileage that you're going to cover. If you're getting closer to the 22-mile range, which generally is what I personally run, I kind of approach it like I'm training for a marathon, just to get some heavy mileage in. Even though it's broken into segments, your body does feel the wear and tear over the course of the evening because you're not sleeping, and you just, your muscles tend to tighten up between runs and whatnot. So I think you just have to look at the mileage. You could follow a half marathon plan and full marathon plan, something in between, whatever works for you and your body.
Good. And this is an experienced marathoner, so I took what she says. So now we're going to move to more of like the preparation and how you prepare for race day. We've talked about the training to do like a half marathon or marathon training plan, but also the things that go into preparing for the actual race. So it's a 2-day race, and it's 24-hour span, but you start on one day and you're going to end on a different day. So that's the huge thing about Bourbon Chase is because it's all through the night. It's not like you most of the time train. You're going to like run at 9 o'clock at night and then like, oh, I'm going to get up at 2 and run a race or run a training run. You don't typically do that. So how do you prepare your mind for that?
Yeah. Well, I have kids, so they have trained me to stay up all night, sleepless nights. No, but it is hard to train for that because it's normally not how your routine goes. You sleep through the night, so you just have to be mentally prepared for it. That's the best way. As far as the course goes, it's pretty hilly throughout the entire Bourbon Chase. So I would just prepare by running hills. Just make it a part of your everyday routine. Not just like work out on a hill, but like if it's an easy day, just take it easy, but make it a hilly course so that your body just gets used to it. But I would agree with Abby. She said she trained for a half marathon or a marathon before the Bourbon Chase. Every year that I've done the Bourbon Chase, I'll sign up for a half marathon or a full marathon, like immediately following the Bourbon Chase. That way I'm already following the plan, and I'm doing something with the team, and I'm also doing something for myself after the race. So, but it's more motivating when you have 2 things to race for, or 2 things to run for. So.
Another question, and a lot of things that we get through coming in the store, we get a lot of questions about how to pack the Bourbon Chase. What are some things that I need? So each of you all can say what's in your like race bag. What do you pack that's like your essentials that you think I can't go to or compete at Bourbon Chase without these?
I learned this tip a few years ago, and I can't remember who told me this, but they suggested taking gallon-sized Ziploc bags. Was it you?
It was me.
Thank you. So Amanda suggested this to me, but before the race, get these gallon-sized Ziploc bags and put all of the clothing that you're going to wear for each leg. So you might have 3 Ziploc bags, one labeled leg 1, another one labeled leg 2, and leg 3. So before your first leg, this is the outfit that you're going to wear before you race. When you're done, take these stinky clothes off after they're sweaty, put them back in this bag, zip it up, put it back in your bag, and that way all the dirty clothes are in here. You're not stinking up the whole van. You've got 6 other girls in your one van, and then you also have your next bag ready for your next leg. So it's a pretty good idea for keeping the van nice and clean.
Pretty clutch.
And like she just said, in between 2 vans. So with the Bourbon Chase, there will be 6 ladies or 16 members in one van, and then 16 members in the other van. And so they'll be going. It's like 1 through like 12, and we'll go from 1 to 12, and then your leg route starts over again, and then you compete in that order. So that way you have to keep up with who's going in which van, and it's kind of a challenge to keep up with your athletes as they're going. But we'll talk about that further on. So.
What about you?
So what are your
What's your
essentials, Amanda?
What are my go-tos? Oh, hold on. They say you need to have reflective gear. So you have 2 options. You can either have a vest, and I think Allie has a really cool version over here too from Swags, but it has to be reflective. This is just a good old strap-on. And then this one, it's 21st century, y'all. And this one lights up. These you can see from miles away, and you don't have to have additional clips on if you use this one. You do for this. Required to have what, 2?
One in the front.
One in the front, one in the back. And usually you lose 1 or 5 during the course of the evening because you have to wear them from 5:30 till 7 a.m. But I don't like to wear shirts. So I wear a reflective bra. It's 100% reflective and it's Ragnar approved, which is pretty awesome. And then the other thing, as a captain, and because we are 12 Type A women, we have a clipboard. And the clipboard right now is blank, but we like to keep track and pre-estimate our times and our splits so that when we do our major exchanges, we can find each other and we know that van 2 is coming or van 1 is coming and going, and we find our runner and we don't miss the exchange because they don't stop the clock.
Based on everybody's pace, we have a spreadsheet that estimates starting times and finish times of each runner so that we know when to be prepared. It helps the two vans to be able to talk to each other and give estimates, but then we also know if you're next up, oh hey, my runner's coming in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. If you have to use the restroom or get a drink or whatever it is, you know how to prepare and have some sort of time frame to stick to. In terms of packing, we like to be fancy, and we always get some really cute shirts made, but these glow in the dark. So Amanda was talking some about reflective gear. These are also fun. You know, anything that you can do to light up in the evenings. It's always nice to be able to spot each other at major exchanges and in crowds. And then you can also look stylish too. In terms of what to pack, you know, you always do also need to make sure you have the right food. You know, when you're training, you obviously know what types of things work for you and your body, but definitely make sure you do have things of substance throughout the evening. I wouldn't rely solely on protein bars because over time, as your body wears down and you get tired, it tends to not really agree with you. I've had some bad experiences with that, so I would recommend peanut butter and jelly, bananas, bagels.
Muffins.
We bring muffins. Sometimes we grab Subway and have that handy to eat a sub sandwich. So it's very important to stay fueled, both from drinking your water and your sports drinks, but also just to make sure you're eating because you are breaking your run into 3 legs.
And make sure that you're practicing those things prior to the race. I think they would all agree with that. Is whenever you go to a race, no matter if it's Bourbon Chase or if you're training for a half or a full or even a 5K, if you use something, then you need to practice that before race day, so that way your body is used to it and you know what to expect with your body. That way there's no unexpected things in town.
No pasta sauce.
The other thing I don't think anybody mentioned, and this is a requirement, but we have to wear headlamps
At night only.
at night so that you
No,
can
at all
see.
times. All times.
And they'll actually make sure that you have a couple in each van, so they check that at the start. And you'll be happy to have it because then you can see the road in front of you because at times it can be very dark. So make sure you have one that feels comfortable. I would test it out a time or two before you run just so that you're not shocked with the feeling of having it on when you start.
Oh, and extra toilet paper.
Always an essential when running.
I mean, okay, we just
You laugh now, but you'll thank
yes,
me later.
because we just got back from Oregon doing Hood to Coast, and they had the most awesome porta potties there. They were filling them up, cleaning them up all the time. And we're not so lucky sometimes at Bourbon Chase because it's very rural, and there might be one in a baseball field that everyone and their mother has used before you because it is a relay that goes 24 hours. And sometimes you just don't like the toilet paper they give you. Just saying.
And we also, a lot of us being mothers, we pack baby wipes because those come in handy for everything. You get sticky, you can wipe off your face, you can substitute it for toilet paper if you forget toilet paper. So that's always I know every year somebody ends up bringing a couple packs of that because it works wonders for a lot of different things.
Yep.
You also had a cool thing for the back of the seat.
Oh, yeah.
For your van, to keep everything kind of organized.
So, I'm sorry, you're not going to really. Target had this, and I literally found it and told them to make it $5 because there was no price tag on it. But it's neat because it has clips that go on the back of the front head seat or headrest, and you put this in the back seat, and you want to
So you put all your gear in here, and that way, when you're with 6 other people in a van, it's already crammed, and stuff gets lost.
So we'll shove.
So if you clip this to the back of either the front passenger seat or the driver's seat, the people in the back can just grab their stuff very easily, and it's not scattered all over the place. Because we've had times when, someone's been like, where's my vest? Where's my headlamp? And we're scrambling trying to get it before they start their leg. So to have this here, it just makes it easy. Everybody puts their stuff in here and everybody takes it out of there. So we know where it's at.
Especially for those essentials like your reflective things, your headlamp and all those things, because you are required to have it on the course of it. So, and one of those pre-race like tips in getting ready is to be fully prepared. And so if you have that, that's one more thing you don't have to think about. It just gives you some peace of mind so that you're prepared, and you're not frantic.
And you're in a really small, you're in a van or a Suburban with 5 other people, and 5 other people stop, and it gets messy.
Yeah, and it just, any way you can stay organized to know where your stuff is and to know how to find it quickly. Because that always seems to be the challenge when you get tired is, where do I put my sneakers? Where are my socks?
Yeah.
And as silly as that sounds, it's dark, there's stuff everywhere. So any system like Amanda just showed you to keep things, at arm's reach and to know where it is definitely helpful.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to shoes, you all use the same shoes every time. If it's raining, how do you keep them dry? What are some tips that you have on shoes?
I was going to bring that up actually because sometimes the forecast calls for rain, and if you can, bring 2 pairs of shoes. If you can't, then there are ways of trying to dry your shoes if you've been running in the rain. You can either take your shoes after you're done with your leg if it's been raining and stuff newspaper in them to try to soak up all the water. We've set our shoes up in our hotel room in between major exchanges. When we're resting, we set our shoes up on the air conditioning unit in the hotel room to try to dry them. But yeah, try to bring 2 pair if you can, if you have room. The other thing I wanted to mention was recovery shoes. When you're done with your leg, you're gonna, especially if your shoes are wet, you're gonna want to take them off. But if you're just tired and you want to relax, you don't have those shoes on anymore, those tight shoes, then you can put recovery shoes on afterwards. Slide these on and get your feet ready for the next leg.
It's all about recovering from your leg, but also getting ready for the next one. So you have to be ready in that and make sure you're fueling properly, as well as taking care of your body using a foam roller or the stick that we have over there. It's just whatever you have to do to prepare for your next race. It's kind of like if you participated in track earlier on and
Rub it down.
if you participated in track when you were younger and used to do events after event after event, it's kind of like that, but the older you get, it's harder for your body to recover. So you have to do all those things to get ready for the next leg, instead of when you're little, you could just drink some water and then go warm up for the next event. But this way, you actually have to do some things if you want to be able to compete at this race.
And that's where the fueling that we talked about too becomes a huge part of the recovery. Just making sure that you're replenishing whatever you lost.
And not with bourbon.
Right. There
Save
will
that
be
for the
teams
after
that do
party,
that,
right?
but
There is an after party.
we're smart about taking care of ourselves.
We just take 1 shot.
At the beginning.
All right, so why do we have this little friend over here? Is it just because it's the Fast Fillies team, or is it something that the team uses?
So you probably have more experience with this, but there are certain spots in Kentucky where we have no cell phone service. So the first major exchange is after leg 6 and before leg 7. We're at Maker's Mark. Is that right?
Yes.
And
the
there's
bowl.
no cell phone service. So it becomes really hard trying to find your teammates who are, if you're in van 1, you're trying to find your teammates from van 2, it can be really difficult to find them in a huge crowd of people because that's the first major exchange. So there's a lot of people there. So what people have done in the past, if they've held signs before with their team name. This is our mascot, the Queen Filly. And this is what we'll be holding up at the major exchanges to try to find our teammates from the opposite vans.
And we're going to put her on our yardstick or something so that we can just hold it up high.
And then she'll have lights at night.
Yeah.
She'll be illuminated.
decked
She'll be decked out and ready to go. All right, so now we're going to go more up to the course questions. I know you all said it's hilly or be prepared for different things, but how should you approach each leg? And let's do Amanda
prayer.
for this one. We'll start out with
Say a
Amanda
little
for this
prayer.
one, and y'all are more than welcome to throw some things in there. But like we said, you have 3 legs, and so the first one, you don't want to get too anxious, I'm sure, and get out there and like overzealous, and then you die for your next 2. So
I know about that part too.
So we're learning from experience with Amanda here. She's done it 7 times.
I know the pros and the cons. So each leg, Abby and I were talking about this earlier, that it's really challenging of a race atmosphere because if you're not the first runner, you're kind of in the limbo of runners and coming and going. You're not at a starting line towing it with a bunch of other people. So when you're runner one, I will tell you this because I've been there, it's super, super, super nerve-wracking, which is awesome. Because you do tow up with everyone in that relay group you're going with, and they shoot the gun, and you go. And it's awesome. But like you said, you have 2 more legs to go. When you're in the middle of it, it's when you start, you are really looking for your runner. So that's where our spreadsheet comes in handy, because that's when you kind of know when they're going to be coming in. So you fight your way to the front, because there will be at least 10 other runners there with you, and they yell at your number. You grab the baton from the person while you're yelling their name, and then you go.
I think you just have to remember it's, the old saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You want to go out and you want to crush each leg. We all have that, motivation to go fast, but you have to remember there are miles behind you or in front of you still, and even though you have breaks, your body is still going to feel, what you've already done. So you just have to make sure when you're pacing yourself at a rate that you can hold on to that for whatever the mileage that you've signed up for is.
And the hills.
Yeah, I was just going to say to study the elevation would be a really smart thing to do, because some legs may say that they're easy because they're short, but there still might be a really large elevation change in that particular leg. So I think if no one's ever ran in Kentucky before, they might find it surprising how hilly it is. So yeah, just study the elevation.
Now, do you guys gun it at the end, or do you just keep running the same pace?
I get what I have left in the last leg.
Yeah.
The last leg, or I meant like at the when you come in, when you go to the handoff.
Oh yeah, I do.
I always
That's
run fast
exciting.
because you see your team and they're there, and you want
Yeah.
to look awesome,
Yeah.
and you want them to
Yes.
feed off of that. And even though you may be in pain or you feel like you're just going to, fall down at any minute, your team's there,
Yeah.
and
It's
you can't help
exciting.
but go
Seeing
fast.
your entire team there cheering you on, and you're just like,
Because the hope is that the next runner feeds off of that energy. If
Yeah.
you look good and fast, it's going to make them want to do the same. So it's just a camaraderie.
It sounds like an incredible team experience. I'm actually very excited because I'm going to be joining Fast Fillies this year. So it's going to be a fun, competitive thing. But what fuels me and gets me ready, and the training aspect of it with being a new member of this team, is just how excited they are about it. And we have like a group chat, and we have a band 1 or band 2, as well as an entire team chat. And so that's just to get us ready for the race. So it's not like the week before the race, you're like, okay, what do I do? Amanda's done a great job of organizing the team and getting everyone ready so that when we're getting to race day that we're prepared. So it's exciting to have a team that's excited to be a part of it and to cheer each other on. Like they were saying, when you're going in, it's not like you're just going to the finish line for yourself. You're going to the finish line for your team. An exciting thing, and that's one thing that makes a relay so special.
I would say it's one time I'm actually working.
So what do you think about the course in general? I know you said it's hilly, and there's some parts that's kind of surprising, but are you running by yourself, or I know in a relay, and you said that there's like staggering starts, and so you may be running with 10 people, or that you may be out there on the road by yourself from what I hear. So how do you prepare for that? Because this is a different racing experience than if you're towing the line at like a marathon or half marathon.
Let's talk about kills.
oh,
The fun
passing
part.
people?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fun. There's a tradition with bourbon chasers of marking their kills on their van, which just basically means you pass somebody during your leg, and each person you pass is a kill. And once you're done with your leg, you mark all your kills with a marker or whatever. I don't know what they're called.
Car chalk.
Yeah,
Car
car
chalk.
chalk on your van, and it's kind of intimidating towards the end of the bourbon chase because you see these vans that have all these kills on it, and you know that they just rocked out and did a great job. So.
Or they're passing the same runner over and over.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No, but safety, there are some things safety-wise. I don't know if you want to get the mace out, because that's like my thing I wish I had last year. So you are running in rural Kentucky, and you are running in some dark, kind of scary places. They're safe because you have the vans going by you the whole time, but there are dogs. And I wish I had this last year because I had a dog come up and not bark but growl. But it's okay.
And luckily, we've never had to use this, but it's just kind of a peace of mind thing because you don't know the attitudes of some dogs that come out, chase after you. Some of them just want to run with you, but some of them are a little bit more aggressive. So to have this it's a good peace of mind tool, I think.
So you spend some of the time running by yourself, right?
The later you start, so if you are on one of the quicker teams, you will start towards the latter part of the day, which the last group I think goes off at 5:30 at night. So you will pretty much run with maybe 5 other people for the first 2 legs. So you may or may not pass anybody up until about 2 o'clock in the morning. We did that last year, and it was dark and lonely.
Yeah, it does. It depends on your start time. Some waves have larger groups. They space it out intentionally. But as the race goes on, you start to see more people on the course, and if you're one of the faster teams that Amanda mentioned, you tend to catch some of the other runners that started earlier, and you start to see more people. But I would definitely prepare to be running alone at times, and just to be mindful of your surroundings because there is oncoming traffic still. That's why we're wearing reflective gear, and just to be prepared for that in addition to wildlife that we've already talked about. Because people don't always pay attention while they're driving, as we all know as runners, so just to be very cautious.
So one more question that we have is, what is one thing you wish you had known before you competed in Bourbon Chase for the first time, or just a tip that you have for people who've never done this, or people who've done it in a year or so, but you think this is something that everyone should know when preparing for this race?
No, I would just say if following the Bourbon Chase the next day, just don't make any plans and just rest at home. Go to bed early so you can get your sleep and you can get caught up. If you do have kids, to hire a babysitter or have someone to watch the kids for the next night so that you can get another night's rest. Because it's just hard to catch up with sleep after Bourbon Chase.
My thing, I would say, if you can, with your training, squeeze in some doubles. Run in the morning before work, run at lunch, or run after work if you can, just to get used to having to run 3 or more miles twice a day, I think, and get it in at a decent pace too. Just so your body's used to, like what you said earlier, recovering quicker, and we're not as agile as we were when we were 15 or 20 or 30 years old.
Kat already touched on the sleep factor, but I think for me that was the biggest shock. Knowing that you have 3 legs, I think in my mind I thought I was going to get a little shut-eye between. But there's so much going on, so much adrenaline. You really have to be prepared not to sleep. And then if you get a couple wings, you'll be grateful. But I think just to have that underlying expectation that you have to be energized and ready to go is the biggest challenge. That's what makes it so crazy and so incredible when you finish, though.
We have 1 person that sleeps.
1 person out of 12.
1 person, and she's not here.
All right, well, thank you all for joining us, and if you're doing Bourbon Chase, we wish you the best of luck. Hopefully we'll see you out there on the course, but if you have any questions, feel free to stop by Swags, message us on our Instagram or Facebook page and let us know if you have any questions. If you have questions, you can always comment down below and ask us there, and we'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. But we're excited for this race and excited to compete, so good luck. Woo!